Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to do a little bit something more different, and I'm going to do a video on FL Studio, and it's going to be about the very basics. And I actually brought my friend George with me here, and he's going to be kind of the guinea pig, if you will. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Basically, he's a beginner in FL Studio and he wants to learn as well. And while I'm going to be explaining about FL, he's going to ask a couple of questions along the way. And the reason I did that is I just want, a beginner's perspective on the program. So for example, I might find one part of the program not important, but for him that might be really important. So that's why I decided to bring a beginner with me to this tutorial. So let's dive in and talk about the very basics of FL Studio. And before we get into this video, I wanted to thank you again. We just reached 6K subscribers, but as you look at the views, not all of our subscribers are really active. And the reason being is because you're not receiving my updates when I upload a video, right? So you might want to turn on your notifications for that. You just click subscribe, click on the little bell thing right there, and click update me on notifications, something like that. And every time when I'm going to upload a video, you're going to be notified by that. So if you really appreciate my hard work and you like learning music, then click on that little tick and just learn along with me on this channel, and hopefully you're gonna stick around or something.
Like that.
Talking bullshit.
No, I might even stick around.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Right. So when we dive into FL Studio right here, we have this interface, and I'm going to show you one of the more important parts of the program. So if we take a look at this panel here, we have a couple of buttons here. We have the playlist, we have the channel rack, we have the piano roll, and don't worry if this is already a little bit more complicated. I'm going to explain every single important thing as we go along this video. So we have, the mixer, and those are not that really important. And let's just, talk about a couple of these buttons and what they do. So we have the channel rack here, and in the channel rack, you basically structure your whole song. So, you put like melodies in there, you put kicks, snares, you put bass lines in there, you put basically everything that is required to create the song. And then once the song is finished, you import the patterns, the sequences that are located in the patterns. You import that into the playlist, which we're going to talk about later on in the video. So, for example, we can make a basic beat, something like this. And these sounds are really bad, but let's not worry about that right now. Right, so you can make something like that, and the way you do that, you just left click anywhere on the pattern to create a sequence. And also an important feature about FL is this part right here, is the patterns. And if we just scroll through like that, it's going to switch through patterns. And you might be thinking, well, why do I need to switch through patterns? Well, every pattern is like a sheet, a new piece of paper. So for example, we have a drawing here, right? And we wanted to create a new drawing, but we don't have enough space. So we take a new pattern, a new sheet of paper, right? So that's the way to put patterns. We also have a part like the browser here, and the browser is basically just filled with a bunch of packs that you can use to import into your playlist. Shut the fuck up! Давай, спасибо, чувак. And another thing we have is the browser here, and the main purpose of the browser is to just import your third-party packs. You can also use built-in packs that come with FL Studio. So for example, if we look at my packs here, you just click on the packs. I have a couple of downloaded packs here, and I can use these packs and import different sounds into the playlist that we talked about. So for example, let's just choose a built-in pack already. And I really like this mode audio pack. So for example, we have kick. Let me actually grab my headphones here. Wow. Listen to this gig, dude. Jesus Christ.
I want to use that.
And the way we can import our samples from the browser into the channel rack is just by dragging them like that with left click and just kind of dropping them over into some sort of a sample like that. Or you can just drop them over on the side like this if you don't want to replace the sound. And you can also delete it like that. And the way you preview a sample, you just click around like this, or you can use your keyboard as well, just by clicking your keys like that. And the same thing, if you import it, you can, you know, play it on different notes. You can also click it and go to the instrument settings here, and you can just, you know, play some melodies with the mouse on this piano roll here. But let's just delete that and close up everything. Hopefully that kind of explained a little bit about, you know, how to import sounds to your patterns and how to create some sequences. So now let's actually create some sequences so you understand what the hell it actually is. So for example, we can just create this simple beat, and I'm actually going to replace all these sounds because they're not that great and I want to have some better sounds. So you can just drag those samples like that. We have a hi-hat. We just replace them, and you can also replace a sound by just clicking enter. So for example, you select a sound like this, you click on the sound and you click enter, and it's going to replace it as well. So let's try that one more time. Click enter and it's going to replace the sound, right? So let's close up everything, and you can get rid of the browser by clicking up here where we started off with. So now we can create our simple sequence by just, you know, doing something like this. And this might be a little bit complicated, but you will understand what's the purpose of every single pattern here. And now it should not sound really great because there's a thing called mixing, which we're going to talk about, but let's just preview it as it is for now. Now, as you can see, it sounds quite loud and everything's all over the place. And this is where mixing comes in. And mixing is just basically adjusting the different volume levels. So for example, you can, you know, adjust the volume of the hats here. You can adjust the volume of the snare, make it a little bit more quieter. And as you can see, you don't really know how much percentage it is, how loud it is. And if we look at the top corner right there, it's actually going to give you the precise number for it, the precise percentage, right? So we can make something like that. And this kick is a little bit too bassy, so I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to remove the out like this, so it's a little bit more punchier than bassier. And now I think it should sound pretty good. Like that.
Do.
You listen to it?
Well, yeah.
It's really like,
it's like
stock samples, but it's just like pretty dope. All right, and that's how you create a simple pattern. You can do the same thing with, you know, a piano instrument or some sort of a synth. So let's actually drag in a synth here, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing, only in a melody kind of way. So we're actually going to select a pattern 2, and we're going to go to the add here. And this section is basically just where you choose your plugins from, right? So you can choose a plugin called GMS, for example, where you can pick different sounds. So we have this bass here. And the way we can manipulate this bass and make a melody out of it is by just going to the piano roll here. And this is the section where you just, you know, make your melodies. You can also do beats here, but I just prefer making chords here, some, you know, piano progressions. You can just click somewhere like that and just create a basic kind of bass line. Also, you can adjust different lengths of the note, and you can make them snap like that, or you can go up here to the snap to grid, go to none, and it's just going to be a free note like that. So you have more, you know, creativity in your melodies and whatnot. So let's just remove that. And also a really kind of useful hotkey to know is you just hold Control, left click, and it's going to select it, and now you hold Shift and left click and drag, and it's just going to duplicate it. I use that hotkey a lot when I do like chords or whatever, so that's just one hotkey to keep in mind.
I like move all of the like notes, like for example one higher.
Oh, I know. Oh, that's a really good one. Basically, you just you want to select it. Hold on, I think now. Hold on. No, okay. So basically, you mean this, right?
Yeah.
You just hold Shift and you press arrows.
All right. Yo, by the way, like before in the channel rack, I wanted to know what like there was a swing thing. What is that?
The swing thing, it's pretty much you adding like groove to your like kicks, mostly like not kicks but the instruments. For example, you have a clap, and if you listen to that, just listen to it, you will see that the clap goes like directly on beat. Listen to this. You see, it goes directly. But once you adjust the swing, does it go or not?
No, it's the same.
Okay, then it doesn't work. For some instruments, for like apparently it doesn't work. So you wanna. This is like the master swing. So it just goes like off, off beat a little bit. So I'm gonna show you. It should work if I go here. Listen to it.
Yeah.
This is the swing. As you can, it's just shift, but swing shift is the same thing, right? And the swing does the same thing, only does it for every sound, so you don't have to like go manually, right?
I noticed before, so I don't see like things here. How do I know what they are?
What do you mean you don't see things?
I don't know. I see like the picture, but how do I know what that is? Like.
Right. Well, yeah. For me, it was really like hard to memorize every single thing as well. But you can easily do that now, because if you look at the top corner, right there, it's just going to tell you what the icon means. It just says view channel rack, so this is the channel rack. And if you have a playlist, it just says here view playlist, piano roll, and just kind of tells you all the names. And that refers to everything. If you hover on anything in FL Studio, it's just going to show you what that means. So for example, this is the master volume and the master pitch. And some of you think that I know everything in FL Studio, but actually I'm always peeking at the top left corner. And when I'm saying those like strange word, like where there's a really strange word, basically there's the miscellaneous functions. Look at the top corner, the miscellaneous functions. Like I would never know that word, but I always look at the top left corner, and that's how I know like what every single thing means.
But is it like important to memorize all of them?
Now, it's not important to memorize it, but like, for example, if you're collaborating with someone and they're like talking about like something really technical, like you it's better for you to know like what it is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But anyways, moving on to the playlist. And the playlist is basically where you just kind of take everything that you had in the pattern and you put it into the playlist to combine all of your ideas together to make a full song. You can't make a song in the pattern. You have to take all of those different parts, you know what I'm saying, and you put them onto one sheet. So let's just say let's just put it into real life perspective. We have, a series of like papers. We have a bunch of papers on the table, right? And we have like a chalkboard or something like that, and we want to put all these like ideas into one place, so we like put them on a chalkboard so it's all together and we see the whole picture. Same thing here, we take all the things in the pattern and then we put them to the playlist, as in the chalkboard. So for example, we have the pattern here, and we go to the playlist like that, and make sure you're on pattern 1. So because we have the beat on the pattern 1, and we just kind of press anywhere and it should create a little pattern here. And that's basically our beat. Now, if it doesn't do that, you might be on like another pattern, and it's just going to be an empty pattern like this. So, and the way you make sure that you're on the correct pattern is you can just look what you have in the pattern. So, for example, on the second pattern, I see that there's a kick and a clap here. Okay, I want that in my track. So I just kind of look at it, go to the playlist, put it in here, and now it's in the playlist. And you can also do the same thing by clicking this current clip source button, and you can select the different patterns in the same way. So for example, let's just break down this beat. So we have every single sequence on a different pattern. So for example, we have a kick on pattern 1. Let's actually rename that. You could rename patterns. So you go to rename and color, click, just type in, oh my God, what the hell, the caps, okay. Type in kick, and then we have a kick here. We can also select the paint tool, and the paint tool is just going to just stick it all together. And if you have the draw tool, it will just put them individually. You can't really have it sticking like that all the time. You have to select it, and then it's only going to go in conjunction with everything. So we put that like that.
I was like actually thinking like I once when I was messing around, I had like this problem where these like these lines, the grid, it was like like out of the grid, and I couldn't like get it to read straight with this line right here, like the the ending of the B or whatever it's called.
Yeah, okay.
Like how do I fix that?
Well, like as you see now, everything's kind of snapping to every single like grid. Everything's snapping every time I move it. And if it's not doing that, then there's probably two problems. You either somehow this quantization was adjusted, or the snap to grid was adjusted. So for example, if I click here, go none, and now it's going to go kind of freely like that, and it doesn't snap. So you might end up with a problem where you just don't know how to fix it, and you just zoom in a lot like this and kind of guess and try to snap it together. But when you have like 20 things, you can't really put it together. So that's a problem. And the way you fix that is you just go to snap to grid, and if you see it's on any other of these options here, then you can just click on main, and now it should snap, right? And another problem that might occur, that it's kind of off like this, right? And then you go to main, and then you put it back, and it's still off, right? So as you can see, right? And you want to click that, make sure you click it. So you select the pattern, and then you click somewhere else, and it's going to create a duplicate, and now it should be on B like that. And you can just delete that, and that's basically how you fix the problem. And the same thing here, you click it, it might be a none, and it's basically going to have the same effect as the snap to grid. And you click on line. Here it's a bit different. So it's line here, and here it's main. So that's the two different names, line, main, but it does the same thing. So as you can see, it's not really on the grid. You click it, click somewhere else, and it's going to be on the grid. And now we can delete it, and it's going to be all perfect.
Awesome. I
like
that.
Yeah. And now we go to second pattern. We can have the clap right there, and we just we select it. And this I'm going to do it differently. I'm not just going to click it like this. I'm going to choose it from here. So we have the kick. I'm going to choose pattern 2 because we have the clap here. I'm going to be on paint right now. And I'm just going to paint that in. And now we have something like this. And also, if we click this pattern, it's going to switch from song to pattern mode. This mode is basically previewing the song in the playlist. But when you click it and it's going to be highlighted like that, it's only going to preview it in the pattern. So check this out. For example, we have the kick here. And once we press here, it's going to automatically switch to the playlist. And that's previewing with the kick and the clap because we have it in the playlist. It's not previewing only the kick and the pattern. That's another thing to keep in mind. So again, let's rename that for fun. Let's go for clap or something. I have a different color. So let's just choose.
Oh, I like the color.
Yeah, dude. And now let's just choose another one. Hats in the middle. Just select it like that. Let's put it to hat. Let's have a different color as well. And finally the snare. As you can see, every time I'm switching patterns, I'm creating kind of a new sheet where there's nothing in there. So I have the freedom to just solo the snare in one pattern and then put it into the playlist with everything together. And that's how you create a track, basically. I like the color.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely like the colors.
And now if we preview everything together, it's going to be the same thing that we had on the pattern 1 when everything was together, but now it's in the playlist. And now you can kind of adjust everything separately, and you can never do this in the pattern alone. So for example, we can, remove the kick at some points. We can maybe remove the clap at some points. I'm just dragging the sides of the pattern. We can maybe remove, the snare here and stuff like that. And if you're wondering how to close everything all together at the same time, for example, you have like a bunch of stuff opened, you can just go to View, close all windows, or you can just press F12. That's a hotkey I use all the time in every single of my tutorials, and people are asking me like, why do you use it all the time? Right? Okay. So piano roll.
Like going like the piano, like, so make some notes and shit. How like can I can only adjust them from this side, or can I adjust them from that side as well, like lengthen them to
No,
that
you
side?
can't adjust.
Oh, just like so.
Yeah, you can't like make it longer from this side. You can only adjust it from one side, and then you drag it over like that.
What is this thing do? I want to actually know what like this all of them, what they do.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like never use almost the other ones. I only use the draw, the paint, then I use the slice. Never use the select because I always do it with a hotkey.
Okay.
I do zoom in sometimes, but I don't zoom in like this. I drag these like bars here, and the playback. I really don't know why like people even use that, to be honest. But let's just say we have. Let's just choose another sound because this is a bass. We can't really carry chords with a bass.
What? Oh, you hear this one's kind of hear?
Sure. Just choose that one, whatever.
What?
Just choose that sound.
Okay.
Right, so we create a little classic chord here. Okay, so we have a chord, right? And we can extend that. Then we can, for example, use the slice tool to slice up certain parts of the notes, so we can just, do something different with it. And again, you see, you can't really drag these handles, so you have to drag the back here, and then you just kind of scooch it over like that. And then this one, it creates a note. It does this kind of effect. I really don't know. Like, I never use these. Never use this. I don't find them useful. I just use the draw, the paint, like I said, the slice.
What is that like next? Like
this one?
Yeah. Oh, just delete.
Delete. Like, why would you use that? The same thing. You can easily right click. So these buttons are not really necessary. But this is a cool one. You can. What was it? This one is a cool. You can solo, like, as you can see, it triggers. So for example, you don't want to. Let's say we have like a little progression here. You don't want to click here to preview it. You can just use this tool.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it does the color. You just preview a certain part of the progression. So that's a useful one as well.
Is there like a hotkey?
Yeah, there's a Y. Just Y. Like Shift Y probably. It just selects it.
Oh wow.
You see? Shift Y and it selects it.
I like that.
Yeah, and there's a hotkey for every single like tool. Mute, you just mutes the sound, and now that sound, that note is muted, so it doesn't work anymore. It's a single note. I don't really use that. I can just delete it. I don't know. Maybe select tool, select it. Delete, mute.
And that slice you close the slice.
Yeah, you slice it up.
Yeah.
You don't have to slice it up on grid all the time. You can just slice it up like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought I wasn't to ask the question, but
no, you don't. You don't have to slice it up always on grid. You can like slice it up like this.
Okay.
You know.
Does it slice up? Like, can you slice?
I think there's a certain limit to it. Like, you can't really do like every single note here. You see, there's it doesn't catch them or whatever. Oh, it doesn't catch them because it doesn't reach them.
Just make like 5 notes and shit.
Yeah, it didn't. You see, cut that one. There's a tail. It doesn't cut. So I guess there's only 2 notes.
Try like
vertically. I mean. Oh, it does.
Good. Nice. I like
okay. You can do the same thing as we did in the playlist. The free drag, how it was not snapping to a grid. You can do the same thing only in the playlist. So, for example, just put that back in there.
You meant like the channel piano roll?
In the piano roll, right? Yeah. So you can just do the same thing. The snap to grid is exactly the same thing as here. It's even like the same icon. So we can just go to the piano roll like that. Click on the snap to grid, choose none. And now the note in the piano roll is going to be also free to move. So I don't really use the none too much because it's just too much. You know what I mean? But like I use these a lot. For example, I have 1.2 step, and I can really create these cool notes. Let's do 1.6 step. Create these little short notes like this, and they sound really awesome in like an electro track. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You can create these kind of notes. And that's really unique, I think. You can even make even these, there's different grids. Basically different types of grids. And none is like a bunch of grids. So if you want like really small short notes. And that's why you use the snap to grid for. But for beginners, I really recommend just to use the domain, because if everything's like this everywhere, it might be a little bit of pain to put all these back. And speaking of that, there's actually a tool to do that. There's a quantize tool. And quantizing is basically you just click one button and everything that was off beat is going to be in beat. It's super helpful when you have like a recording session with a MIDI, for example. You record some sort of a melody and it's a little bit off beat, and you can easily just click it and it's going to be on beat. Huh? What?
I said like on beat. I thought you were going to say in beat again.
No, I said off beat and it's going to be in beat.
No, on beat.
On beat. Yeah.
Off on.
Off on, yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, okay.
This is like in beat.
Whatever. So you can just go to the piano roll options, go to tools, and there's a couple of options. You can do quick quantize, you can do just quantize or quick quantize start times. And start times is basically, for example, on the grid, this is the start time. Now the start time is not on the grid, that's the start time. So let's just do a quick quantize here. As you can see, these notes are not on the grid, so we can just click here, again, tools, quick quantize, and now just automatically shifts to the grid. So let's just go back, Control Z to undo. And speaking of undo options, we can just go to audio settings. Actually, we need to go to general, and right here on the undo history, make sure that's on like a decent level. For me, 100 really works well. So every time when you undo as well, it creates an undo history. So every single move that you do is saved in FL. If you go to current projects here in the browser, and again, if you don't know how to open up the browser, you just click this right here. You go to current projects, history, and every time you click something, it's just going to create more of these undo points options. Or undo points, I guess. And for example, you want to go back and you don't want to really press Control Alt Z all the time. You can easily just click somewhere and it's going to go to that point where you were. So for example, as you saw, I put a lot of notes in here. I can go forwards, so I can just click here and it's going to restore all of that.
Yo, can you like listen to this real quick?
Why? It's bad.
I don't know. I like that. Wait, hold on.
I don't like that.
I want to listen to that again.
How do you like that?
Just go.
Jesus Christ.
I can definitely work with that. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Yeah, but basically that's the undo history. So put it to a decent amount. Talking about this section of FL, you can also adjust a bunch of technical things in FL. For example, in the MIDI section here, you can hook up a MIDI controller and then just play it in conjunction with the FL Studio. So for example, if you hook up some sort of a MIDI, it's going to identify it in the output, and then it's going to send over to the input. You click that, you click enable, and it should be ready, set to go with FL. So you can go to audio as well. You have different devices here, the sound drivers. FL Studio Audio is mainly used when you want to run different processes at the same time. For example, you want to have a Skype call and you want to make music at the same time, or you want to listen to YouTube, Skype, and music at the same time, you know what I mean? So you just run a different audio process at the same time, and that's where you use FL Studio Audio for. There's also a primary sound driver, and there's also a speaker. Depending on your speaker, this should be different, but I don't really recommend to use those because those are not really good drivers for CPU. They don't really process a lot of sounds really well, so I just recommend using the FL Studio Audio. And we also have this ASIO for All V2 driver, and I don't want to switch that on right now because it's going to screw up this whole recording, and I'm going to explain you why. Basically, if you turn on the ASIO for All driver, it's just going to run only one audio process. So it's going to focus on FL Studio only. So you will hear only sounds produced from FL Studio, but not other sounds outside of FL Studio. So you won't be able to listen to music like an MP3 on a WAV file or something like that. You won't be able to listen to YouTube. It's going to crash basically, because this driver is focused highly on like a lot of processes, a lot of samples running at the same time. So I really recommend using this driver when you have like a big project with a bunch of massive sounds. So you don't want to choose this driver when you want to talk to someone on Skype or something like that. So just be aware of that. And also, let's say you're watching a YouTube video and then you suddenly switch to the SDR4. All driver is automatically going to crash the YouTube video. Same thing with the Skype call. If you have a Skype call and then you switch to this driver, it's just going to cancel off the audio outside of a FL, and people won't even be able to hear you. So that's what this driver is for. Now I've talked about the technical side of this. This is a beginner video, so let's move on to the next section, and that is called the mixer here. So if we click this button here, again, look at the top left corner right there, you can see what all the icons represent. So just click mixer. And this might be a little bit intimidating at first. There's a lot of things going on. You don't really know what they do, but don't worry, it's super basic, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So for example, I'm just going to close the browser here. So all of our focus is on the mixer, and let me just resize that. So basically in the mixer, you mainly mix, and again, mixing is just adjusting a lot of volume levels. Also, you can do a lot of interesting things in the mixer, like sidechain. You can add effects onto certain samples, stuff like that. You can create automation clips. There's a lot of things you can do. You master a track in the mixer. So if you go to master track is basically, the master volume, as you can see. Let's say you have a whole song. You have a bunch of these samples here, and this is the master track. You can mute it or whatever. You can add certain effects to the master track to make it more louder and stuff like that. You add compression, EQ, and yeah. So let's talk about why you should assign your samples into the mixer in the first place. So for example, we're going to do some basic mixing, right? And you can do mixing right here in the channel rack as well. You can just adjust the different volume levels. But the main thing why I like doing mixing in the mixer is because these volume knobs act like a little graph, you know what I'm saying? So you can just judge how good the mix is by just looking at the knobs. So for example, if all of the knobs are at the same level, then you most definitely know that the mix is not good and the person who did the track does not know a single thing about mixing. So that's one of the ways to figure out, is your mix good or not? Are my volume levels correct? So for example, let me just assign one of these samples into the mixer. And if we look here, we actually have two options how to assign the sample into the mixer. We can use just a simple method by calling this target mixer track. So for example, if we scroll like that, this kick is now in the mixer. If I play it, you'll see that it's in the mixer. Now I'm going to tell you why I don't like using this method, because look, I've actually seen some people doing like this. It's assigned to the mixer, but as you can see, there's no name to it. You don't even know what it is in the mixer. You know what it is in the pattern, but you don't know what it is in the mixer, right? Of course, you can rename it and everything, but it's much more simple to just assign it in this other way that I'm going to show you right now. So let's just, not assign this to anywhere and assign it with a different method. So for example, we select the sample like this, and we just choose an insert where we want the sample to be in, and now we can just like right click channel routing, click route selected channel to this track. Now this might be a little bit more complicated, how do I memorize this? And if we look at this section here, we actually have names for it. We have a mixer track, we have routing, group, and you just remember the word routing, and you go under routing and you go channel routing, and that's it. Just remember the word routing, channel routing, route selected channel to this track, boom. And now as you can see, this whole name and everything, if you have a color for it, it's just transferred over to the mixer, right? So now you can do the same volume adjustments only in the mixer. And again, like I said, you know, these knobs act like a little graph on how good is the mix, right?
Okay, can you like explain what that sidechain thing is? You actually like
we referred. I told you.
You referred to it earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So a sidechain, it's a little bit more kind of advanced at this stage to really talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway for those people who kind of know what they're doing in FL Studio, but they just want to know more, if you know what I mean. So sidechaining is like, for example, we have a sound. I'm just going to show you right now. We have, let's just create a simple chord. Right, something like that. And we want to sidechain it. Now, again, we don't know what sidechaining is. I'm going to tell you. Look at this. The way you sidechain is you need to assign this synth into the mixer as well. So, for example, I select the sound. Let's just rename that to pluck. And I'm going to add a different color to it just for fun. And we can go to mixer and just select an insert. For some apparent reason, I like to start the synths at insert 10. I don't know why. Like all the time I have like, you know, percussive sounds here, and at insert 10 always this like the sounds start off. So that's like
I like that.
Yeah,
I definitely like that.
yeah. And you do the same assignment. You just right click again. Remember routing, route select the channel to this track. Boom, it's in the mixer. And now we sidechain basically. Again, we can adjust different volumes, whatever. You can mute the track, you can pan it. Do different
what does
things.
the panning mean?
The panning is if you adjust it to the right side, it's gonna pan the whole sample to the right side. So if you want to listen to that.
Oh yeah, okay.
And if you left side, it's on the left side.
Yeah.
Middle, it's it's like a mono stereo thing. So we want to sidechain, right? So we click on the kick, and there's multiple ways to sidechain it. You can sidechain it with the kick. You can sidechain it with a certain plugin like row speed or something like that. But let's just do it this method so you can know what the sidechaining is, right? But first of all, I want to add another effect. And if we go to this section here, we can click on any slot, and slots are where you store your effects. We have 10 slots available. So for example, we click on the effect slot 1 option, and we can choose a plugin called Grow Speed. And if we go to the sidechain option, the plug should be sidechain now. Listen to them. You feel like how peaking it is? Yeah. Sidechain, what it does is basically we have this empty space here, and this is where the pluck is being played. This is the point where the pluck is being played, right? And sidechain, what it does, it just kind of peaks the pluck in this kind of a motion, right? So same thing with the kick. We can assign the kick with the pluck, and every time when the kick is going to hit, the pluck will tuck in. It's going to sidechain, you know. So for example, let's reference this like this. We have the kick here, right? And when the kick is going to hit, the sound is going to go under the kick, right? And this technique is really used when you have a bunch of sounds layered on top of each other and you want the mix to be clear, right? And you just kind of sidechain it. And I do this in every single of my tracks. I always sidechain everything, and that's why it sounds super clean. So that's sidechain in a nutshell. And you can also sidechain it with the kick. So let me just show you that method. You click on the kick, you go over here, enable send from attack, right? You right click that and it says sidechain to this track. Don't click this, sidechain to this track, click that, and it's not going to sidechain now. A way to remove grow speed, you can just click it, you can replace it with another plugin, or you can just click none. So now we're just going to click none, and we're going to choose a new plugin, and that's going to be the limiter. And we're not going to talk about the limiter too much. I'm just going to tell you how to sidechain it. So we can go to the compression section here, and as you can see, it's sidechain. We enable that just to 1 because we have only one kick running to the pluck. And now if we adjust these two knobs here, the threshold and the knee, it should sidechain. So listen to that. And let's see, look. Feel that? Sidechain. And we can adjust how much it's sidechaining by adjusting the knee.
Go like really like go full retard or something. Oh.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
And that's how you sidechain. And I mean, yeah, this is a kind of a advanced method of sidechaining for beginners, but it's definitely worth a try because there's a lot of things you can experiment with this type of method.
Now, the thing sidechaining was actually what I wanted to ask because I didn't know what this thing was, but it's basically like sidechaining, right?
Yeah, but this place is not only meant for like sidechaining, right?
What else does
you can do stuff like rooting. As you can see, there's a separate kind of like section right here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go really in depth about it because it's super complicated. But for example, we have a series of sounds, right? We have like 10 sounds here or something like that. And let me actually show you how you can assign multiple sounds to the mixer. Let's just say you have like 100 sounds. I don't think you want to go manually like every sound, right? Per sound go to the mixer. So you can select it. So if we go like that, we right click, select everything, go to an insert, and we right click, remember the routing, channel routing, and this time you don't click the first option, but you click the second option. Route selected channels to starting from this track. That's the thing, starting from this track. So starting from this insert is going to route the other sounds that we selected, these 3 sounds. Look at this. Channel, boom, and now everything's there.
I really like that.
Yeah. And now if we like go to the playlist, we can see that everything's playing in the mixer as well. We can see
put in the pattern of like that pluck,
and we can also adjust, different volumes.
Dude,
what do you want to do?
Put in the pluck in the pattern.
Yeah, sure. So for example, if we want to again put that pluck into the playlist, we select the playlist pattern 5, or we go here, click your pattern, boom, 5, click in the playlist. And again, if it's not snapping like that, don't forget, go to snap to grid, choose main, and just snap it like that. And now we should.
What? Wow, that's so like glitchy.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And again, going back to the mixer, we have this separate section here. So again, let's just say we have a series of sounds. We have 4 sounds here, and we want to add like one effect that's going to affect every single sound of this. For example, a reverb, right? But we don't want to add a reverb to every single of these channels separately, right? We don't want to, like, for example, we have reverb here, we go here, we have another reverb, another reverb. So what you can do is you can just click here and you can route this, route to this track, take another one, route to this track. So now this it's gonna play, right? Now you see that right there, it triggered another insert. And now if we add effects on here, these 2 sounds that we routed should be affected by that effect. Yeah, like the kick and the clap should be affected now.
Yeah.
You see that?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I have one question. I put a reverb on one of my I put something in my mixer and shit. I put something in my mixer and I put a reverb on it, and everything had reverb. The kick, the piano, everything had reverb.
If you might stumble on a problem where you put the effect on the master. You might have put the effect on the master channel, right? Okay. So the master channel, it's everything, right? It's all of the things you have in the project. It's on the master, right? So you might have put it here, and of course, if we put a reverb here, everything's gonna be reverbed. So that's one of the things. So you want to add effects separately on each. So
basically, I didn't click on that specific.
I want to click on it. Okay. You will click on it. So that's pretty much FL Studio in a nutshell. I think we covered all the basics. And again, thank you to George for joining me into this session. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. But yeah, it was really fun making this video. I wanted to make this video for a really long time, but didn't really have the time for it because this is a really long in-depth video, and hopefully you're gonna appreciate the hard work.
Wait,
yeah,
dude,
what?
Maybe we like make parts of it where like there's a journey where you teach me and we make a song. We down for that?
Yeah, but this video is gonna be like one just big.
And then
video.
you say
it's gonna be one big video.
Yeah, but like you say part 1 question mark.
I don't
part
know.
1 question mark, and then you say journey. on making a track with a beginner.
Sure, let's do that. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Just do that. I think that was it. That was a really long video. Oh my god,
that was a long video.
I think this is gonna be like an hour video. I've never and that
I think so.
no
40 minutes or something.